Ladies and gentlemen, family and friends, scholars and dignitaries, welcome to another episode. Welcome to my world.
Hello, friends. Now, most people who are religious have an innate understanding of the nature of miracles. We know that miracles do happen. We have both hope and faith that they will happen, and we know that they'll happen when we need them the most, but we just don't know how to make them happen, and that's one of the great mysteries of life. By the way, miracles do happen every day. We just don't recognize them as such. We take them for granted. We're blind to the miracles we experience. In fact, life itself is a miracle, and we don't even appreciate it. So most people would pay anything for a course in miracles. What they don't realize, though, is that miracles and many things in life are based upon the real principles of spirituality and spiritual magnetism. It is not by mere fate, coincidence, or happenstance that miracles happen, though. It is by divine intervention. It is by a set of spiritual principles which both guide and impact upon people in either a positive or negative fashion. Essentially, what one thinks and feels and how one acts and behaves actually influences and attracts future providence. In this manner, then, one can also ask for, influence, and attract divine miracles. In certain religions, it's known as spiritual magnetism. It's based upon the degree of your relationship with God, and the mystical arms of both the Islam, Christian, and Jewish traditions explain the transformation that one must undergo to achieve spiritual magnetism. This includes renunciation of evil and sin, reliance upon a spiritual teacher or priest or pastor, devotion, study, prayer and fasting, and some religions recommend meditation or contemplation, as well as prayer and fasting. Miracles can and do happen. Thousands have reported that after they've turned to God, they receive physical healings, recovery from addictions, gifts of jobs, prosperity, help with family or personal problems, and conversion and spiritual healings. They receive responses to requests which are beyond ordinary and at times even scientifically impossible. Miracles are related to the degree of spiritual magnetism one enjoys. Here, then, are the basic spiritual principles to strive for in order to ask for a miracle in your life, for either yourself or for someone else. First, believe it can happen. There are hundreds of books written which are filled with stories of miracles, of supernatural phenomena that defied scientific explanation. These stories had one common denominator. They were all based upon faith. The stronger the faith, the greater the likelihood of the miracle being granted. Jesus said, quote, "For truly I tell you, if you have faith the size of a mustard seed, you will say to this mountain, 'Move from here to there,' and it will move, and nothing will be impossible for you." And nothing will be impossible for you. Second, do not try to contradict the will of God and be careful not to bend it. So remember, His will be done. In this way, a miracle is more likely to happen if one's request is also consistent with the direct will of God, when it's for your good or the good of others, and it conforms to His will and the natural law of life. The third principle is that prayer and fasting are amplifiers for miracles. Before starting his ministry to defeat evil, Jesus prayed and fasted for 40 days. Prayer and fasting brings grace. Prayer and fasting brings healing. Prayer and fasting is the muscle behind the desire. In Medjugorje, Mary, the Blessed Mother of Jesus, appeared to a group of children and said, "One can achieve what they need through the power of prayer and fasting." She said, "You have forgotten that through prayer and fasting, you can avert war and even change the course of nature." The fourth principle is to persevere and be persistent until you receive your answered prayer. Don't be discouraged, for nothing is impossible with God. God hears us, and yes, at times the miracles come when we least expect them, and sometimes we receive answers and miracles in ways that are different from what we expected. One woman prayed for her son for 20 years, seemingly without success, but he did finally convert from his self-destructive and evil ways. But it took years and years of prayers and fasting before this was accomplished. The fifth principle is to always give thanks. Show gratitude for God for hearing the prayer, even if the miracle was not granted. Always show gratitude. When Jesus cured the 10 lepers, only one came back to thank him. And as I said, every day we have miracles, but do we stop to thank God even once a week, if not every day? Or do we take it for granted or are caught up too much in the daily distractions of life, even to take a moment to stop, reflect, and offer thanks and praise? It's called gratitude. One priest said it plainly. Miracles are in direct response to the degree of man's holiness and sanctity. The deeper and more personal an individual's relationship is with God, the more abundantly the graces flow and the greater the miracles. God will always hear us, but the greater the consistency of our life is with His commandments and holiness and His ways, the greater will be His response through miracles. After all, Jesus said it Himself. Most assuredly, I say to you, whatever you ask the Father in my name, He will give you. Ask and you will receive, that your joy may be full. Hey, be safe, be well, and may God bless and grant you what you need today. Keep the faith.